Hey, we're cooking with gas here. On the Jewcast.
Okay, careful using a phrase like that.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries of a sham.
Tradition!
Oh, shut up, Carl! Shut your goddamn Jew mouth! You people are why there's war in the Middle East!
Gekakken von Jan.
Nebbig.
Ver poo-poo-poo.
Vermischt.
Verkackt.
Vertutzt.
Verstonken.
Farted.
Exactly.
You're what Grammy Hall would call a real Jew.
Oh, yeah, here we go again. Another episode of American Jew coming at you.
Baruch Hashem, we're still doing it.
Yes, episode 88, and it's been a big week.
2 8s, everybody, next to each other.
Yeah, crazy eights right next to each other, right here.
It's our Crazy 8 show.
Oi. Let me say, a lot has happened in the last week. It's been a big week. We had Halloween since our last episode.
Did you have a good Halloween?
I think it was okay. You know, I mean, it's the first holiday that we've had since this pandemic started that encourages masks. So there's that.
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
It was an interesting Halloween. I mean, I guess I got a little more into it than usual, trying to enjoy it. You know, growing up, I wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween because of being Jewish.
Right.
I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah. Halloween, I don't know. I think it's a pagan holiday that has been turned into, you know, that America has really kind of taken a hold of. But I know that I've tried, you know, when I've done shows for Orthodox communities, they don't like my Halloween material because they claim it's not one of their holidays.
Yeah, apparently I really missed out. I don't know. You know, I was at a friend's party, and my friend was dressed as a Hasidic Jew. And then he passed out a bunch of wigs at the party. So I was wearing some wig he gave me. And then people started, like, switching wigs and hats or whatever. And some guy, so my friend switched with some other guy, and the other guy was wearing the hat with the payas. And then someone came up to me and was like, "You want to switch wigs?" I'm like, no, I need that one. And I went to the hat with the payas and I put it on. And I'm like, this is mine now. And when I was walking around, I couldn't figure out, I'm like, am I being anti-Semitic right now?
I don't know. It depends on whether or not you were staying 6 feet away or not. You know, were you practicing social distancing?
I wasn't wearing a mask. I was like, should I put on the mask and that's my costume? Haha, I'm actually one that wears a mask. I don't know. Anyways, I loved wearing the payas hat. It was a thrill for me. But anyways, also going on this week, the election.
Yes, also the election.
So we talked about the 4 Jewish senators that were running last week. It doesn't look like any of them are going to win, unfortunately.
Well, you know, I don't know. I guess that one guy that fought a bear didn't fight hard enough.
Yeah, he might have been able to beat a bear, but he can't beat a Republican. But hey, at least they tried. At least there were some Jews represented in the Senate, and maybe we'll get them next time. You know, we are big supporters of Joe Biden, or I mean, I don't know if we're big supporters of Joe Biden, but we're big anti-Trump people.
Yeah,
it's probably a better way to say it.
I guess that's probably right. Yeah, a lot of people right now, the results are not fully in yet. A lot of people are saying they feel good. I don't feel so good.
It's looking better for Biden. You know, it is than it was on Tuesday night. Right now, it's looking better for Biden. We're still waiting to find out what's going on in some swing states, but you know, we're hoping for the best. I saw a TikTok video of people in a synagogue like wearing like Trump flags as like capes, doing blessings for Trump.
Well, they're in the minority. There was a report that came out that said Jewish American voters were overwhelmingly 77 to 21% voted for Biden.
Well, that's good. That was us. We were in that. I don't understand how people could like Trump. We've talked about this before, how Jewish people could like Trump. You know, I know they think he's done good things for Israel, but, you know, I'm glad they want to call him peace deals, but are they peace deals? It wasn't like Israel was at war with any of those nations, you know? The normalization is good. We're glad recognizing Israel as a country, but, you know, I feel like Trump.
Yeah, the most troubling part of all of this is that that people just don't see that the anti-Semitic tropes that Trump uses to rally up his base. Whether or not he is anti-Semitic, he has a lot of anti-Semitic fans and supporters who he has not come out against in strong enough number. You know, I mean, the fact that there are Trump supporters who defaced one of the oldest Jewish cemeteries in the country, a 100-year-old cemetery in Michigan,
Yeah, it's crazy. Right before a Trump rally, they went in, they spray painted on all the gravestones Trump and, MAGA, and it's like, it's crazy how Jews could support him. I don't understand it. They're like, Jews for Trump. It's like, oh yeah, the people that are defacing Jewish cemeteries and white supremacists are the people voting. And I just want to say, when it comes to, the deals with the UAE and Sudan and Bahrain, it's good. I'm glad we have him. But, what did Trump really do? I feel like Trump is like the kid in, the group assignment that just, showed up at the last study session and, wrote one line and then wants to take credit for the whole report.
Right. Well, he's the one that didn't write the report, but he gets to give the presentation. That's, his job.
Oh, okay.
That,
Yeah.
Trump always looks like, when he's reading prepared remarks, that he's reading it for the very first time on camera. That's what he always looks like.
Well, hopefully we'll get rid of him. Of course, he's suing. He's being a sore loser already.
The whole notion that Trump has denounced white supremacy, a lot of his supporters say he has denounced it in the strongest possible terms, but he has not. And he has gone out of his way to pander to that mentality, to that base, to stir up that pot.
He has denounced it, but he does also pander to the base, which is, kind of confusing. Do they cancel each other out? I don't know.
He comes out and says, I denounce it, but by his actions, he encourages the thought process that a lot of those people take. And I hope that regardless of what happens in this election, that we start to take anti-Semitism in this country a little bit more seriously, that we call it out for what it is, that we don't take our time. We always talk about how Jews are so quick to cry anti-Semitism, but when real anti-Semitism takes place, you have to call it out. The fact that Trump hasn't explicitly come out yet in the last couple of days and denounced the people that defaced that cemetery is telling in and of itself. How do you not?
It's very confusing. He's not a super outright Hitler type anti-Semite, neo-Nazi type anti-Semite, but he has a lot of anti-Semitic tendencies. Of course, his daughter is converted to Judaism. She's married to a Jew. He's done some things, but you could still not be very kind to Jewish people and have a relation to Jewish people.
I just feel like Trump he doesn't say anything but nice things about people that support him. Even the whole QAnon conspiracy, when asked about it at a press conference, he said, well, I don't know much about them, but I hear they love me. And that is basically telling those people, hey, keep it up.
Yeah, he's retweeting, stuff they say. It's horrible.
Yeah. So, and Twitter actually has been censoring him so much in the last 24 hours that he actually put out a White House press release that's in all fucking caps because Twitter wouldn't have put it up.
That's crazy. Yeah, thank goodness Twitter's doing that.
Yeah.
Some other bad news, I think, in my opinion, while everybody's focused on the election, Israel wiped out an entire Palestinian village in what the UN is calling the biggest demolition of Palestinian homes in the West Bank in a decade.
This is troubling to see.
71 people, including 41 children, are now homeless. The UN and the EU has condemned Israel's actions as a violation of international humanitarian law and breaching the Fourth Geneva Convention. Israel saying it only destroyed 7 tents and 8 pens, which were illegally constructed in a firing range in the Jordan Valley. But the relief agencies that visited the site recorded 76 structures demolished, including homes, animal shelters, toilets, and solar panels. The village is called Kirbet Humsa. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Right.
But this isn't good. What is going on? They think no journalists will be around. No one's going to notice. They're going to do this.
Yeah.
There's different, there's somebody that's saying they lived there for 48 years. This is their home. This was their land. And now where are they going to go? And Israel's saying, no, these were a brand new village just constructed in an illegal place. And they're saying it's not illegal. And when people do try to get permits, Israel always rejects them for building anyways. So I don't know. I'm seeing this as unfortunate news coming out from Israel.
I think the most unfortunate.
These people are not only dealing with coronavirus, but apparently now it's starting to rain. They don't have their homes. Their places got demolished. They weren't given any warning. So
the most troubling part about it is, as you just said, is that nobody's covering it. This is not a story that I saw on mainstream news. All they're talking about on mainstream news is this election stuff and pandemic stuff. But this is news that I think should be troubling to anybody that cares about what's going on in the Middle East. This is troubling because it seems coordinated to have taken place while the news is so focused on what's happening in America right now.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I feel like it has gotten lost in America, in the world. We're so divided amongst ourselves. There's so much anger and hostility in America going on between conservatives and liberals. And of course, there's anger and frustration between Israelis and Palestinians. And we're all human beings. We're all people of this earth. And we gotta start looking out for each other and seeing each other as our fellow man or woman instead of seeing each other as our enemies or people that are opposing us. And it's okay if we don't all agree. It's okay if we have different opinions. It doesn't mean we have to constantly be at each other's throats. It doesn't mean we have to be okay with people's homes getting demolished or people being misplaced. We got to start looking out for each other. We got to look out for everybody, no matter what their political beliefs are, no matter what their religion is, no matter, where they're from. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that we're good to one another. We're good people. Exactly.
And let me just say this also. I feel like we kind of buried the lead of good news because there is hope ahead. The Mandalorian season 2 is out. Baby Yoda has come back to save us again in our time.
I love you saving us
in our time of need.
Hopefully, it could save the Mandalorian. But okay, that was a weird segue, Jordan. I'm glad you're enjoying the Mandalorian season 2. I don't think there are any Jews on it, unless.
Listen, I just think that we were all a lot better off when we were arguing about pop culture and Star Wars rather than what the problems in the Middle East and why we're not going to get along at Thanksgiving with our families.
Well, speaking about, entertainment things, I actually this week watched the movie Exodus with Paul Newman, an old movie, Otto Preminger movie about the formation of Israel.
It's been a while since I've seen that one. That's a good one, though.
Very interesting movie. I've never seen it before. Good to get that perspective of what is. But, in the movie, they're all talking about living together, Israelis and Arabs, that this is going to be the land that they're going to share. It's both their ancestral land and they're going to have it. And I don't know what happens to that. A lot of Israelis want to say, a lot of Jewish people want to say it's because Arabs couldn't accept it. They wouldn't let it happen. A lot of people do love Paul Newman, though. I mean, he makes good salad dressing.
Yeah. He's got us covered.
But he is very well acted in that movie, and definitely something worth checking out. I hadn't seen it before, and I'm surprised they didn't show that to me like growing up in school or something.
Yeah, I mean, we always got the 10 Commandments. It was all more about Charlton Heston.
But maybe if they had Charlton Heston in Exodus, been like, God damn these dirty Arabs.
But
anyways, hopefully things will work out with the election. Hopefully the 71 people that are now homeless in the Jordan Valley will get taken care of. They will find a new place to have a home. Israel will stop doing these things. Hopefully, in the next Senate race, more Jews will win.
Listen, at this point, I'm ready to vote for the bear.
We need more peace and love, not to sound too much like a hippie, but we need more acceptance of each other. We need to look for more reasons why we are similar than reasons that drive us apart.
Agreed. I'm not a kumbaya guy either, but, I do think that we should be celebrating our commonalities and sitting at the drum circle at least together. So with that in mind, we do have we're inviting somebody else to our little circle today. We got another guest on the show.
Yes, very excited to have Joe Harrary on the show. My buddy Joe Harrary. We used to actually
Harrary
called Your Mother's Basement. You can still listen to all 10 episodes of that on iTunes. And Joe's a great guy. He's in the comedy industry. He's a manager at one of the top comedy clubs in New York. He loves comedy. He's a big Star Wars fan too, Jordan.
Oh, boy.
And he's a great guy. He was brought up as an Orthodox Jew. And I'm thrilled. I'm excited to have Joe on the show.
Me too. Let's get him in here.
Super excited to have Joe Harrary on the show. How's it going, Joe? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I lost you, Ken. I don't know what's going on.
Us Jews were always lost, wandering through places.
Zoom is terrible, man. You remember we used to do a show with, real microphones in the studio? Remember those times?
Back in the day. I know. Yeah. It's going to be such weird things, when we're older, do you remember when you used to shake people's hands?
Yeah. The only thing I remember from our old podcast is I predicted Thor Ragnarok was going to be good just based on the name. And I'm sticking to that.
You were right. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
It was.
We mentioned that podcast a little bit ago. I send you sometimes because we still get hits on the Facebook page and stuff.
Yeah, no, I see little notifications. Jordan, I love your background. I didn't know you were Jewish.
Well,
I've seen you around. We never talked about it.
We haven't talked about it, but I've been. I look pretty Jewish, don't you think? You don't think I look Jewish?
I mean, I try not to, generalize.
I mean,
I try not to judge, and
I mean, it's in my act. I always say I am Jewish. In case you have not caught my profile yet, Jewish.
Funny.
Joe was brought up Orthodox, right?
Yeah, I'm actually different than you guys. I'm a Sephardic Orthodox Jew.
Uh-oh.
Everybody finds out I'm Jewish, and they always do the cliche, oh, your nose isn't that big, or why aren't you a doctor, or like the typical Ashkenazi Jew cliches. And I try to explain to them the differences, and when you just see people's eyes just start to cross, and it's like, no, you're just a Jew. Yeah, all right, whatever.
The differences that I find the biggest are in the foods.
Yeah, no, our food is insanely better than yours.
Wow.
It's night and day.
Shots fired.
100%. Like we're like Mediterranean Greek foods, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we have all these other weird concoctions. These like Sephardic Syrian women moms came up, and grandmas came up with like decades ago.
My aunt, I have an aunt who's Sephardic, and for Passover she makes a matzah meat pie.
A matzah meat pie? That sounds awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
my God, it's so fucking good. And my cousins don't like it. I think I eat more of it than anybody else at my family Seder.
Something we don't do in my house, my family, but my aunt does. She's Israeli, Lebanese, something, not Syrian. Everybody I grew up in the Syrian Jewish community in Brooklyn and New Jersey. And it's like this, not secret society, but they treat it like this, like this real special club that you're a part of. And people like really, really, really like wear it on their sleeves, and they're so pro their community, and it's really cool to see. But the thing is, like, everyone's very similar. But back to Passover, we never had matzah brie in my house, but I love matzah brie. I don't know if that's a you guys thing.
I love matzah brie.
I love how you're saying you guys.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a Ashkenazi.
By the way, Joe totally looks Ashkenazi.
Yeah, 100. So the thing is, my grandfather, my mom's father, is a full Ashkenazi Jew. His wife, full Syrian. My two other grandparents on my dad's side, full Syria. So I got all like that 25% hit me hard. Like if you do a Punnett square, eventually you get a fucking Aryan, I guess, in my little genetic gene pool.
Both sides of my family originally are from Eastern Europe, from Russia. So
Eastern European Jews. Yeah. So a lot of borscht.
A lot of borscht.
Yeah.
A lot of
meat. A lot of potato.
Oh yeah, a lot of potato.
Sure, it's funny.
Other than food, Joe, what are?
That's how I judge. That's how I judge you people, is on the food. Like the different, like what you serve at your. I'm like, is there going to be a fish head at this Seder, or am I seeing like a piece of meat? Yeah.
I mean, we do the brisket. We get a nice brisket. We always have meat.
Yeah, sure. We can move on from food. I'll talk about that. I'm sorry.
We'll come back to food.
What are some of the other differences you think between Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews?
The differences, it's just a cultural, I can't speak for all of Sephardic Jews. Like, I don't really know much about, I know a little bit about the Persian communities of Great Neck, Moroccans. There's a lot of Moroccan Jews in New York, and, French speaking, that's like the Sephardics I know. But like Ari Shafir has a joke, about Sephardic and Ashkenazi Jews, that his dad, like, they're Ashkenazi, and his dad, he's like, oh, they're garbage. And typically, apparently they're I don't know. There is a disparity between Ashkenazi and most Sephardic Jews. But where I grew up, there's this ultra superiority complex where they think they're the top, of the tier. And the thing is, they're all really wealthy. They're great businessmen. The girls are really pretty, and they're very savvy. They carry themselves the girls carry themselves with ignorance because they think guys like that. But a lot of them are fucking smart and industrious, and they'll get married when they're like 22, 23. They'll have kids, get bored, and just start a business. They're like, yeah, I'm making jewelry. And they're doing better than like people I know that are like, that's their business, is like, I started a jewelry business and this is going to be my career. They're just doing this as a hobby, and like the community's so supportive that they've run out, and now everybody's reposting everybody's little business endeavors. And then finally it breaks out into like this small little niche, like normal world mainstream kind of like normal people start finding out about it. And now my friend Sherry is selling a fucking 1,000 bracelets a month, you know?
Wow.
So
that's the Jew connection. That's the good stuff. I guess it sounds like the Sephardics are doing it even more.
It's really interesting because, like, typically Syrian girls they don't ever, like, now it's changing a little bit more, but, like, throughout most of my childhood and my parents' upbringing, there was no real, like, career drive there. Like, once in a while, there was a girl would be like, I really want to do something. But most of them just want to get married and be, like, Syrian wives and do what they do. But it's changing now, and it's really cool to see that, like, one of my friends is a vet tech, which you never would fucking see that in a million years previously. But a lot of, which brings me to the Ashkenazi community, you guys like really, really drive that home from a young age. Like, you're going to college, you're going to go to a school, and or not even, it's just like inherent to a lot of Ashkenazi Jews where they become doctors and lawyers and they go into these trades. For us, it's not really much about going into trades. It's a lot of wholesale and real estate and just, you know, hustling at a young age. Like at 16, 17, I was expected to have a real job for summer, not like working on the boardwalk and the lemonade stand, you know, like 17, you're going, you know, we would live in Deal, New Jersey. That's where a lot of the community would go for the summer. That's where I grew up, moved to Brooklyn so my sisters could get married to somebody in Brooklyn, but we would still go for the summers.
That's crazy. Your family moved all the way. I didn't realize that they moved to Brooklyn just to marry off your sisters.
Well, that's how I, you know, break it down. And like, that's the reality of it. Like, I was like, I don't want to move. All my friends are like, fuck you. You're not important. You're 12 years old. Your sisters need to get married. The move was so easy, man. Cause you know everybody, cause you know them from the summer. It's all kids your summer friends. So you're like, all right, these are my winter and summer friends now, whatever. But, yeah, but at like 16 years old, like you'd be in Deal, New Jersey, and you're expected to wake up at 6 a.m., get on the New Jersey Transit, go to an office building, and like my friend clerked for a lawyer. I worked for a wholesale company, whatever, doing whatever they needed me to do. Like, and that was like what they were preparing me for. Obviously, college is important, but it was never driven home to me. Like, they didn't want me to go to college. They wanted me to, you know, go immediately into the work, you know, like, and work with my family, work with like somebody, you know, we know in a good business like electronics and stuff like that. Because they knew if I went to college, I'd fuck around, meet non-Jewish people, and open my brain, which is exactly what happened. You know, like, yeah.
I mean, I feel like Ashkenazis aren't. I feel like the way you've been talking about Sephardic, it's like they keep themselves very different from Ashkenazis. And
again, this is not Sephardics in general. This is the weird niche Sephardic I grew up in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, were Ashkenazis less than? Like, if you brought home an
100.
girl,
We have a
Ashkenazi girls.
Oh no! Like, if you brought home an Ashkenazi girl, like, they would do a little research. Like, if it was getting to the point where I'm getting married to this girl, they would research the lineage to make sure there's no non-Jew. Like, we're the only community in, I think, the world that doesn't accept converts at all.
Really?
Very rare. Yeah. There's a special edict. They have a fucking, like, scroll and shit that was recently amended for a friend of mine. Her mother was adopted when she was a baby, and they're, like, you know, the very active people in the community. The daughters are amazing, trying to get married to this kid. They were like, no, adopted, non-Jewish, and they were like, no, in this situation, this is not the time. Like, this girl is special and 100%, like, nicest, best human, charity work, and, like, so that's how they, like,
hot, can't let her go.
Gorgeous, dude, gorgeous, and the nicest human in the world.
Change it. She's
when I moved to Brooklyn, and like I was having a tough time adjusting, this girl was like there for me, like a special human. So like that's the situations they changed it in. But other than that, no converts.
They're basically like Judaism begins at conception.
Yeah, well, my mother is half Ashkenaz, and my dad married her, and like that wasn't an issue at all. And we even have like, I wouldn't say like, we have like a little like a slang word for Ashkenazi Jews. We call them J-dubs. Yeah, we have a whole plethora of like slang. Like there's deep cut. So like, did you see Joe's dating JWG? If you're like Hajj Kish, like enough, I want to get out of here. You know, like there's like a lot of these words that like Spanglish that like get thrown into an English language.
Well, I guess Ashkenazi Jews are leaning more on like Yiddish.
Yeah.
What is Sephardic?
It's Arabic.
Arabic.
It's like a weird Arabic that got just melted down over years of living in Brooklyn. You know, I believe that most of the community came over in the 1920s. They were kicked out of Syria. My grandfather, his parents went to Atlantic City. And his father started a business. He had stores, this and that. His father died at a very young age. So my grandfather had to take over the family business in Atlantic City. And this guy was a hustler. He took care of his mom, his younger brothers, and it was pretty scary. I'm not sure when they moved to Brooklyn. This is my father's side. My grandmother's family moved to Brooklyn around the same time when everybody came over. And it was crazy because it was just like all these people living in this one area of Syria in Aleppo. They came from Aleppo, moved to this one area of Brooklyn. They just transplanted their whole lives, but the community was still there and the infrastructure was still there. So like the adjustment must have been so much easier for like then, like an Irish kid coming over on Ellis Island alone. And some people did get separated and named, like a lot of Harrary's came over. I guess they had different names on Ellis Island. Like there's Harrary's with an I and there's Harrary's with a Y at the end. I'm a Y. And then there's conflict between the two. Right. I don't like the I's. If you're an I, get out of my face.
Yeah.
Did you go to like a Jewish private school?
I went to Hillel Yeshiva in New Jersey up until I was 12, and then I moved to Brooklyn. Hillel Yeshiva was a great school, very fun, the worst Hebrew program in the world.
Like, you speak fluent Hebrew?
Not at all. And no one in Hillel, like it wasn't like I was a slacker. No one in Hillel my age speaks Hebrew. And then I went to Brooklyn, Mag and David, and everybody in that school speaks fluently. Like the last year of middle school was virtually impossible for me to do any of the Hebrew classes. I graduated, they gave you 2 diplomas. It opens up and you get your Hebrew one on one side, English one on one side. I only have the English one. They didn't give me a Hebrew diploma. Those pieces of shit.
Oh, wow. They kept it from you, huh?
Oh, yeah. It was fucking Rabbi Wanunu. This guy was a monster.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait.
Wanunu, what a name. He sounds like African or something.
Is he one of those
Ethiopian Jews?
Biggest piece of shit you'll ever meet in your life.
That almost sounds like one of those slang words. Like, you're making fun of, Rabbi Wanunu over here.
Wanunu. These fucking Wanunus walking down the street. No. This guy walks in 8th grade.
I tell you, that Rabbi Wanunu is quite the wackadoo. I tell you.
Yeah. So 8th grade, we walk into this. We're sitting in this classroom. First day, walks through the door. He's like, "Good evening, or good afternoon. My name is Rabbi Wanunu, and these are the last words of English you will hear me speak for the rest of the year." Completely Hebrew from there.
Oh wow.
So then the tests would come. Like you have tests at school. We would study. Chumash. I don't know if you know.
Torah, the Bible, the Chumash.
Yeah, Chumash is classic, Torah. Like every, passage of every chapter. You go through chapter by chapter every week.
We did that.
We had Navi. Navi was about the prophets and stuff. And then there's Gemara was law, Jewish law class. Gemara is so. In watching an episode of Seinfeld sometimes, it's so interesting. It's literally it's a case study and rabbis writing their notes down about this case. It's all right, so there's a farmer. He has a ditch. All right, how big is the ditch? 6 feet. All right, it's a big ditch. And somebody fell into it. Whose fault is it? Well, did he have any signage around the ditch? There's no signage. But did the guy know about the ditch going into it? Did he help him dig it? They go step by step until they figure out whose fault this is. It's really.
Do you think that learning the Chumash, learning Gemara, learning the Navi, has it had any practical effects in your life now?
Well, I kept kosher till I was 21.
And he's, apparently he also
Okay, wow.
he digs quite a ditch.
Yeah, I'm a good ditch digger.
Ditch digger?
I mean,
he's ditched a lot of girls.
When I was in like second grade, I like realized that these are just fun stories. I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they would do like the Aesop's fables in that, and so like I was able to like relate Aesop's fables to these parables, and I'm like, these are just like life lesson stories, and like a lot of them are cool, and you do learn, you take something from it, but some of them are fucking ridiculous, and like I do think religion. I'm not a religious person anymore, but I do like the customs and culture from my community. I love it. I love like being a Syrian Jew. I love our food. I love the way like a Friday night feels. I love all that shit. But I do think religion is a detriment sometimes when it starts to like put people down. And that's where you have to separate the parable from basic human right.
Absolutely. We like to ask everybody a couple questions. What's your favorite Jewish food?
Kibbeh.
What is it?
What is it?
It's that was off the top of my head. It's a Sephardic. It's a Middle Eastern food. It's deep fried little like torpedo filled with like these little ground meat pellets. You dip it in hummus. Amazing. We do on Fridays before dinner. We do a thing called mazeh. You might have heard of meze. It's like a Greek thing. It's like all these little tapas. So we have lahmacun, which are these little sweet meat pizza. It's like little dough with like meat on top. They're flat. You guys got to try this shit.
Yes, that sounds amazing. I gotta come
kibbeh is like everybody's favorite is kibbeh. That's like a fan favorite. My brother-in-law's mom makes it and sells it to the community. So we get like fresh batches all the time, and she's like the fucking best at it.
Wow.
Little fried chickens. Sometimes there's like a weird like pastrami egg roll. A little kibbeh, lahmacun are the standards. They'll always be there. And then we get hummus, bazagam, maybe some pickled beets. Like the mazeh is like the best Jewish food. It's so simple. You have a scotch with it. You chill out.
Nice.
It's just like the preamble.
Sounds
I guess.
good. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Jewish holiday?
Favorite Jewish holidays, a toss-up between Purim and Hanukkah. Hanukkah because you don't have to do shit except light candles, and even that you don't have to do. It's not even about the gifts. You can drive cars, you can chill. And Purim, there's usually a rager Purim rave every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, right before the world went to shit, I went to Purim.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Jew of all time? Fictional?
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
But didn't he like convert?
No, Mel Brooks.
Christianity.
No, what?
Yeah, Mel Brooks is like converted.
No. Melvin Kaminsky will always be a Jew. That you can't.
Okay. Look at his Wikipedia because I think he converted at some point. It's some weird.
He married a goy. His wife was not.
Jordan, I'm gonna look it up. I'll take a screenshot if I find it, but you might be right. I don't know. This is all shit my dad tells me. He watches Fox News. I don't know. He's crazy.
I picked Mel Brooks also as one of my favorite Jews. I mean, that
was just off the top of the dome. Come on, there's no one better.
It's a no-brainer.
Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld, Dave Chappelle.
He could be an honorary Jew, Chappelle.
Yeah.
Greatest comedian of all time, in my opinion.
Any more?
What? Is there anything you want to plug? What's your Instagram?
Well, it's Sirs.McFly right now. I know it's a stupid handle. I post like really stupid shit. Like I get stoned and make artwork sometimes. I've been doing DJ mixes. So if you like electronic music, like hard electronic music, I've been posting those. Unlimited Lives with TJ Del Reno. It's a video game network. I help him a lot with it. I haven't been on recently. We're trying because he's been out of New York and this and that, but I love that kid to death, and I put a lot of work into some of the stuff there. So Unlimited Lives and the Stand Comedy Club and Restaurant. We're not officially doing comedy right now, but you should definitely come. Our 8 p.m. dinner reservation time is the best time to come to the Stand if you like comedy. Copy?
The funniest time there.
And also, like, we have a whole new menu. The fucking pizza here is so fucking good, dude. Like, I know Cursed Pizza, like, I'm not promoting our pizza, cause I'm not a shill. I have our pizza. I'm like, this is good. We have a new menu. It's getting better. But I try to order delivery of pizza on my night off. but like I handle a lot of like the tech and the infrastructure here, and our delivery system is so fucked up, so it's my fault. I couldn't get a pizza, but delivery will be good starting Monday. We're good.
Joe's the first person to write himself a bad review on you.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. It's great to see you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Sorry I was late. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope I see you guys soon.
Yeah, us too. Hope to see you in person. Thanks, buddy. All right. Well, that was awesome. Thanks to Joe for coming out.
Big thanks to Joe Harrary for coming on the show. Be sure to check him out on all social media.
Make sure you check us out on social media at American Jew Podcast across all platforms except on Twitter. We're American Jew Pod. You can follow me on Instagram at Beatnik Nudnik.
I'm on all social media platforms at Jonathan Randall. Check out our Patreon. Got some great exclusive content on there with amazing conversations with some fantastic guests.
Yeah, your cup will runneth over on the Patreon. Thanks for listening, guys. We will be here next week. L'chaim.